Hey, what is up YouTube? thyAshes here bringing you another video, and today I'm going to be doing my predictions for the Paris pools and the results, and then possibly the rest of the tournament. Quick disclaimer, this is not meant to offend anybody. This is not meant to trigger people. This is purely my opinions, which I know saying the disclaimer is not going to do me any good, but nonetheless, these are my thoughts. These are my predictions going into this tournament. Now, keep in mind, I can't predict what teams are going to be coming out of open bracket, and I don't know what all teams are going to be in open bracket. And then from that, I can't predict what groups they're going into, even if I did know the teams. And even if I did know the teams and knew what groups they were going into, there's a good chance I don't know a lot about them unless they're like some of the NA teams that are going that aren't in pool play. So without further ado, let us go ahead and get into these predictions. All right, so let's start off with Pool A. Quite clearly, this is our pool. And if you remember my pool preview video, which I did about a week ago, then you'll know all the rosters of all these teams. So I'm going to ignore that, and I'm going to talk about how I think the results are going to go. I believe that for this pool, obviously, I think that we are going to go 3-0, and I'm going to use a green. I think we're going to go 3-0 in this pool. I don't see us losing to Splice. We haven't really played them on LAN yet, but Splice usually struggles to make it to that top 8 point. In fact, I don't think they actually have. So it kind of makes it seem hard to believe that they will be able to beat us, but you never know. Splice is a very good team, and they do have a new roster coming into this that has more firepower. They have Choche coaching, so there definitely could be some interesting outcomes. But I still feel confident in my guys. I feel confident in us playing BAM Esports and then whatever open bracket team. That being said, I'm going to take a quick look down. BAM is the team with Dark Frag, Reacts, Dynam. So that's that second place La Baguette, La Baguette, I think. The French team. I still have Splice beating them, so I'm going to have Splice going 2-1. I don't think there's going to be an open bracket team that's really going to take down Splice. Splice looks really good. I'm going to have BAM going 1-2. And that could be interchangeable with whatever this open bracket team is. If the open bracket team is one of those top, semi-top NA teams that is coming to Paris, then that could change. Or if there's a European team that I don't know about that's really good. But BAM Esports looks pretty good in the fight night that I saw them in. So I'm sadly going to have to give the open bracket team an 0-3. And good luck, guys. All right, on to Pool B. So in Pool B, we have Team Envious, Epsilon, E6, and whatever open bracket team. Epsilon recently had their roster changes, so now they have this guy, and they have, I don't remember who else they changed. But they did do roster changes. I think this says, right? J-Ray joining the team after replacing Ash. So maybe that was the only one. Anyways, Envious, I see going 3-0 in this group. Envious looks strong, without a doubt. They pretty much always look strong, especially on LAN. They look better on LAN than they do online. Epsilon, I don't know if they'll be able to take on the new E6 roster. The new E6 roster, for those of you who don't remember, Eternity, Hudson's, Excels, Soto, and Hesitations. I don't remember how Hesitations did in Atlantic City, but he is pretty good. And if he performs well with this team, which has Excels, who always seems to do really well on LAN, then I could see this team going to, if I could write, 2-1, Epsilon going 1-2, and open bracket team, I'm going to give them another 0-3 because Epsilon is a really good team, don't get me wrong. And these two could change, but E6 is one of those teams, especially with Eternity, who always step it up on LAN compared to online. So that's my prediction from this pool. So these are going to be your two teams. Epsilon and Envy and E6 are going to be your two teams making out of this pool. And I forgot to say that for the first group, obviously us and Splice. All right, Pool C. Now, Last Ride, that's a team with Reaction, Ronslot, Combo, Ash, and Crimsons. I don't know much about that team and how they've been performing online, but this pool is going to be kind of tough because Allegiance is one of those teams who can show up and do really well. For example, in London, the last European event we had, Allegiance is actually the team to knock Envy into the losers bracket and then knock them out of the tournament. So Allegiance can show up strong when they want to, but then you've also got United, and you've also got this really strong squad from in the form of Last Ride. If United performs at all how they did in Atlantic City, then this could be a very interesting group where it's really hard to make a prediction because their Atlantic City performance does not reflect how they are as a team. Last Ride, like I said, it's a pretty stacked roster. You have people like Ash, you have people like Jack Reaction, who are really good players. So I could honestly see that team making upsets and taking second or even first in this group, depending on how E United and Allegiance perform. Obviously, we can't vouch for the open bracket team. So for this, I'm just going to have to take a swing at it. I'm going to have to say that I really want to vote for Last Ride because I want to see them cause some upsets, but I also really like Allegiance. United is obviously a strong team. I'm gonna mix this group up a little bit. I'm gonna say that United's gonna go 2-1. I'm gonna say that they're gonna lose to Allegiance. Allegiance is gonna go 2-1 because they're gonna beat E United and the open bracket team. United's gonna beat Last Ride and the open bracket team. And Last Ride is going to go 2-1 because they're going to beat the open bracket team in Allegiance. And I'm going to say we're going to have a 3-way tie, and the poor open bracket team is going to go 0-3. Now, again, don't know who the open bracket team is. So we're going to have a 3-way tie for first in this group. I don't know. It's just so close that that's kind of where I have to leave it. Now, I know a lot of people here, if we're going by overall past performances, then you're going to have to give it to United going 3-0, Allegiance going 2-1, and Last Ride going 1-3, just because Last Ride's a newer team. But I really think this group could be very interesting. So we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. And last but not least, we have Pool D. So Pool D is going to be EchoFox, Ghost Gaming, Vitality. Some big heavy hitters here. EchoFox, phenomenal in Atlantic City, and I think they're only going to be better in this event, so I'm going to give them a 3-0 in this group, to be honest. Ghost Gaming struggled. I mean, they looked ass in Atlantic City during groups, and they stepped it up during Saturday and Sunday, and that's what made them the third place team. So if they fix that group thing, they'll definitely go 2-1, possibly 3-0, and take down EchoFox. It just kind of depends on who shows up on that first day. Vitality, sadly, I'm going to give them a 1-2. They just haven't performed that well at past events, so I don't have a reason, even with their home court advantage being in Paris, I don't have a reason to give them anything better than a 1-2. And the open bracket team, again, sorry, open bracket friends, 0-3. That's my predictions for the groups. Now, from there, we can actually draw a bracket up real quick. So we're going to have these two teams from this bracket making it out. It looks like I'm drawing L's, but I'm not. So what that causes is basically the second place team from C plays the first place team from A. And let's see if we can get a bracket. So let's see. Let's open up Paint. All right, ignore the fact that I've changed and it's now daytime outside. We're going to go ahead and take a look at how this bracket would play out based on my predictions. So we're going to go ahead and draw this bracket in real quick. We need 1, 2, 3. We're going to ignore loser's bracket for now because I'm not using a bracket generator. This is way too much work. So we're going to do it like that. And yes, the reason I am wearing a different shirt and it is a different time of day is because I actually recorded this part and then realized I did this bracket wrong. So obviously we would be first and we would be playing the number 2 team out of Group C, which I'm going to put ALG just because most people probably think it's going to be United winning that group. And then we would play the number 2 team versus the number 1 team from D. So that'd be EchoFox versus E6. So EF versus E6. I believe this is how it works. And then over here, it doesn't really matter the positions, but it's E United versus Splice. EU. That looks like an EV, but you know what I mean. EU versus Splice. And NB versus Ghost. That would actually be a very interesting matchup. Ghost. I'll put GG, Ghost Gaming. That looks like 2 6s. Ghost Gaming. There we go. All right. I have us taking it over ALG. I have EchoFox beating E6. EchoFox looked really good in in Atlantic City. I could expect him to continue to, carry that momentum. United versus Splice. This one is the rivalry that always happens at every LAN event, it seems like. United, I think, so far is undefeated. Splice has a new roster. United didn't perform so well at the last event. They have a new roster. I'm going to go with the upset, and I'm going to give it to Splice. Now, I know that might piss a lot of people off. This one could go either way, so that's just kind of a disclaimer. But if United perform how they did at Atlantic City, and Splice perform how they've been playing online with their new players, it could very well go in Splice's favor. And I just want to throw an upset into this bracket. We also don't know how Zerpting's going to perform with this team on LAN. So he's only been to the one event. I don't even know if he got any main stage time, so it'll be interesting to see. Envy versus Ghost Gaming, they always match up really well. I have it going in favor of Envy because it's just hard to count out Envy this early on. OG versus Echo Fox. This would actually be a really good match, but I'm going to give it to us. And then I'm going to give it to Envy. And obviously, I'm going to give it to us at the end of that. And that would be your winner's bracket. So yeah, that's kind of how I see winner's bracket going. And then from loser's bracket, I don't see any of the teams from pool play or any of the teams that didn't make it into the championship bracket out of groups. I don't see any of them causing any upsets or doing any kind of miracle runs. But again, I don't know exactly the teams coming from from open bracket into pool play. So it's always up in the air. And then from here, it's really hard to say. I think overall, based on what I've seen so far, I'm going to put us in first to win the event. That's my prediction. I'm going to have Envy in second. It's too consistent with us right now with being the top two teams. United's really hit or miss, and normally a lot of people would put them third as like the third best team, but I honestly have to give it to Echo Fox because they perform pretty consistently online as a strong team, and then when they get on LAN, it's just a whole new beast. So I could see them being third. Ghost Gaming and United, I would say, are pretty similar. And if Ghost Gaming turn up like they did before, like in Atlantic City, I could see them being fourth and United being fifth. So I'm just going to put these two kind of Ghost Gaming / E United. That's fourth and fifth. Sixth and seventh, E6. And I actually see Splice taking this over Allegiance, depending on how the brackets go. Splice. And then I'm probably doing this wrong, right? It's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But they're kind of toss ups. And then obviously I think the last top team would be Allegiance. I don't think Allegiance would lose to Epsilon and or Vitality or the other French team or the other European team that is in groups. So I'm going to kind of give it like that. I think Splice will finally be able to break that top 8. That's going to be my predictions for Paris. Let me know in the comments down below what you think the results of Paris will be. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe down below. And as always, I sincerely appreciate the support, and I will see you all in the next video.